Thanks very much for joining us today, guys, at Esports News UK. Could you start off by introducing yourselves, please?
I'm Colton Wall, known as Colton W83 in Clash Royale. I'm from Texas in the United States, and I go to college in California. I've been playing the game for about a year and a half now.
Cool. And you're in the finals this weekend?
Yeah, in the finals, one of the 3 representatives from North America. I qualified through the Invitational Tournament, which was basically all past tournament winners were invited to a single tournament, and I had a very difficult road, and I was able to win the 16-man bracket, and now I'm another representative for North America.
Great stuff. Cool.
My name is Seth. In-game name is the Rum Ham. Proud citizen of the Republic of California. But I attended the first esports tournament as a player and quickly transitioned to a caster after that because guys like Colton just started beating me up all the time. Wasn't worth continuing that path. So I've become a caster for pretty much every major North American event since.
Cool. Okay. So first off, guys, what are your thoughts on the finals being based here in London? You know, what's it like being here? Is it your first time here?
Yeah, so I've been to Europe 3 times now, I believe, but all because of Clash Royale. So this is the first time I've been for an extended period of time where I've actually gotten to kind of see around, sightsee. But I mean, I enjoy it. It lets me travel. I enjoy traveling, and I enjoy being able to go around and play the game that I love. So.
Cool.
This is a bit of a homecoming for me. I studied abroad in London, so I was really excited when the World Finals were announced here because I get to come back and see all my favorite National Portrait Gallery museums. It's such a cool experience because being centrally located, you're actually able to have a show that is viewed by everyone in the world at the same time. That's, I think, part of the reason why we're here is you can get everyone from the Pacific coast of America all the way to Japan kind of watching the same event at once. This is a great location for it. I mean, the Copper Box Arena being where the Olympics were held, it has an Olympic feel to it. You know, we have the 2 best players from the 8 major regions all flown into the same area, and I'm really excited to see how it's going to play out. Some people think that some regions are stronger than others, and we're just going to see that all sort of resolved in the first major international tournament this weekend.
What are your thoughts on the different regions and your chances? I guess you guys might be a bit biased towards North America, but what are your sort of predictions for the finals?
I mean, for the finals, I'm always going to count on myself, so I think I have the ability to win it. But other than that, I'm cheering on my teammate, Adrian Piedra. He's the other Team Queso player that's here. And then I think NA is really strong. I honestly think NA will make it to the finals. And I do think we are the strongest region, although it is close between the top few, I think.
Okay, cool. And your thoughts?
And because it's the first, international competition, people's perceptions of how the regions are going to perform are kind of bleeding onto the players. I know that there's a huge divide between the Western Hemisphere and Eastern Hemisphere, language barriers and platforms and whatever. So I'm excited to see regions like Japan, who almost never really clash with North American and Latin American players, how they're going to perform on the biggest stage. There's definitely a feeling amongst the Western Hemisphere that North America is the strongest region, and they actually have 3 representatives out of the 16 that are here, so they kind of have an argument for that. But I will see. Some of the best players in the world reside in Europe. As you mentioned, Adrian Piedra, the Latin American champion, is one of the pro pick favorites to win the thing. Yeah. But truthfully, all the players are that 1% of 1% of 1% in the player base that any of the 16 could win. It wouldn't shock me to see a bunch of upsets in the first round and a completely underrated or unexpected player to take the whole thing.
That's cool. One thing I wanted to ask, as a Brit, it's a shame we don't have a UK player in the finals. Are there any standout UK players that got quite far that you can talk about?
My teammate, St. Bellican, is a very good UK player. He's just about to hit the age limit, so he's currently 15, I believe, and you need to be 16 to be able to compete. Right. And come next year when the next CCGS is supposed to start up, he will be old enough. And I have almost no doubt that he'll qualify for the EU CCGS and be one of the players. He's very good.
The esports scene in Clash Royale tends to skew a little young, a lot of teenagers. The 16 age limit is one of those things where when players kind of come into their rookie year, there's a lot of expectations for them, especially if they've performed well in the community scene. 2 of our players from North America, C. McHugh and Music Master, both hit the age limit this year and then immediately qualified, crushed their opponents, and are here at the World Finals. So St. Bellican has been one of the best players since the game came out. I think he was 14 when the game came out, and there's a lot of expectations that when he turns 16, he will be representing the UK at the 2018 World Finals.
Oh, that's brilliant. Yeah, it's weird. We've actually got quite a good few players in mobile games, and like you say, at young ages, maybe it's because of the accessibility of the device and everything. You know, anyone can play. One thing I wanted to ask you about as well is a bit about your backstory. I was hearing you've got an interesting story in particular.
Yeah. So I'm from Texas, like I said, and I moved to California for school, and the King's Cup was the first like big tournament that I could realistically go to, and I'd been in San Diego for like 2 or 3 weeks or something like that, no more than a month, I want to say. And they have like a rideshare Facebook page, and I gave someone $10 on their way to LA to drop me off at the tournament, and then I got like a $90 hotel, which is pretty cheap in LA. And then I had to wake up because it wasn't close to the event and walk like 2 or 3 miles.
I'd say in the snow, but it's Los Angeles, so it wasn't really in the snow.
I mean, it wasn't kind of a shady area, but I got there, and then I wanted to go to the event because all the big like content creators and all the other pro players, because I was in like the semi-pro scene at the time. But I ended up going, and I knew I could get like the $100 gift card, but then I would get second, which is $10,000. So that's when I started taking it seriously. I knew I could get into the scene, and I did YouTube, and I'm doing content creation, and now I'm about to make the transition to doing it full time as a player. And I've got a really good team now, Team Queso. Got a big support group, and so yeah, I've been enjoying it.
So you finished second there. What's this story about playing outside Walmart I've heard of?
Oh, okay. So yeah. So I was home for Texas this summer, and to qualify for CCGS, we had to do a qualifying group where you're in a group with 4 other people, only 2 advance, so you have to get top 2 out of 16 people. So they cut down the group in half or whatever. And I don't trust my Wi-Fi at home. It kind of has like it randomly disconnects.
I don't trust mine either.
Yeah, so it randomly disconnects. So honestly, it's better just to play on LTE, which maybe is a little bit slower, like the slightest of delays, which kind of sucks. But yeah, so I went to a Walmart parking lot, like the nearby like grocery center or whatever, and I just like parked my truck in the back and like sat in there for like 3 hours. And then when I won, I was like yelling. I jumped out, and I was like running around in circles. Yeah, it was good.
That really culminated, I think, in the path that brought Colton up to this pro level. One of my favorite moments in the history of Clash Royale Esports was actually watching Colton win his first tournament. Got second at King's Cup, and there was a lot of expectations from that point on. You know, you're a Twitch partnered streamer almost immediately and all that kind of stuff. But there was a long time, there was like a couple month gap there where you were really struggling to get that win. You were kind of always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Came out to, I think, Spain, Gamergy Masters in Spain, and ended up winning a tournament, you know, big cash prize. And he was just on stage, like you could just see he was so happy that he finally won the trophy. Pulls the trophy up, and he's like, real like, yeah, I'm tough. And then when Team Queso rushed the stage and started hugging him, you just fell apart. It was like a really emotional moment. I remember watching it being like, it's fine. Like he was cutting onions in here. Like it was, and I think those moments like that are what we're going to see on Sunday. We're going to have players who are representing, you know, not just themselves or their esports teams, but their country, right? You have single representatives from entire regions that want to, you know, represent themselves on the global stage. And I think that if one of them goes really far, it's going to be just an amazing story.
Yeah, I like to say that's a sign of a good competitive sportsman or sports person. I think I remember when I was in a football team when I was a young boy, we lost this cup final, I think it was, and one of the players on my team, he wanted to win so bad he just broke down, started crying. Yeah. But he was the only one out of the team that really wanted to. It meant so much to him, you know. So I think that's a good sign. What about yourself, Seth? What kind of background do you have? How did you get into esports and into Clash Royale casting?
I was a mobile game designer for years. I had a major American publisher, and when Clash Royale came out, because the gaming industry so deeply respects what Supercell does and is always kind of watching their next move, the day that Clash Royale came out in beta, I downloaded it and started playing it. And I remember that first night, it was January 3rd or 4th, 2016. It was like right around the turn of the year. I went home and played for like 6 hours in a row. The next day I'm like Googling how to get Canadian gift cards so I can like, you know, like buy packs and stuff in the game. And I just realized right away there's that secret sauce. I was like, this is the game I've been waiting for. It's got card game elements, it's got RTS game elements, it's on my phone, it's really well produced, and I know that a company like Supercell is going to really support it over a long period of time. So I started Twitch streaming it, I want to say like the third day of beta, like very early on. I literally just put like the phone and a webcam, it was like a black background, it looked horrible, looked miserable, but I just knew I wanted to be a part of this as soon as I could. I went to the very first esports tournament in Finland, and when I came back, a company in Los Angeles was doing local community tournaments. So I started casting those tournaments, and from there it just went from the Super Magical Cup to the North American Open to the Crown Championship this year.
That's brilliant. Great. And I think we've covered a lot off there. Is there anything else you guys want to add about your time here or Clash Royale as an esport or anything like that?
I'm trying to think of like what's like a funny anecdote or story or. All right, so Colton, he's rooting for Adrian Piedra. I like him. Nice kid. So for months, there's two players. There's a European player named So King, and there's also a Team Queso member who has big poof of hair on his head. And his like hashtag, his fan club is the Toupee Army because it looks like he's wearing this goofy toupee even though it's just normal hair. So Adrian started doing this like Aztec eagle pose and saying like Pelon, Pelon, Pelon Army. And I thought it was like eagle. So I was like, yeah, man, eagle, you're the eagle. And he would call me Pelon as well.
Dab, what we call in the UK,
like,
dabbing.
No, it's like,
no.
Yeah, no, it's like, it was like an Aztec.
Usain Bolt. You know what Usain Bolt does when he wins? The runner, the Jamaican guy? He does that. Maybe, I don't know.
Like an Aztec Mayan. It was supposed to be like, because he's from Mexico, so it's supposed to be like his heritage. And so I thought it was eagle this whole time. And I'm like, yeah, man, eagle, like, Eagle Army. And he just told me here this weekend, because he would call me Pelon back. And I'm like, oh yeah, like eagle, I'm an eagle, you're an eagle, we're all eagles here. And he tells me this weekend, he's like, oh no, Pelon means shaved bald man. If I win world championships, I'm going to shave my head. So Pelon, I shave the head. You are Pelon, you are bald man. And I'm like, what? So I'm learning a lot of Spanish this weekend, which is great. Right? Yeah, so he's a great kid. I'm rooting for him to win. If he wins, I'm shaving his head. I'm taking him to the barber on that one.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for your time, guys, and best of luck
Yeah, thank you.
in the championship. Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.